With the 15th pick in the 2007 NBA Draft, the Detroit Pistons select Rodney Stuckey from Eastern Washington University.
So Rodney is here, and this was not a secret, playing in smaller time basketball than the major conferences. In the Big Sky at Eastern Washington, he scored almost 25 points a game. That was 7th in the NCAA this past year. Recruited by Washington and Washington State, but when grades were an issue, he ended up attending Eastern Washington. One of 7 children who was raised by a single mom, Faye, eventually ending up with the Taller family. That's the family of a teammate. They became his foster parents and legal guardians. Mom, Diane, was such a big part of his life. Rodney Stuckey, sophomore guard, 3 years removed from high school, Jay, now a Detroit Piston.
You know, Mike, kind of a poor man's Dwayne Wade. He's athletic as all get out. He is really strong, and in fact gets by people off his strength more so than his quickness. And he's really physical. He's kind of a Detroit molded guard. You know, that physical nature of the way he plays. He's a guy that can go and get his own shot. He's a good mid-range jump shooter. Not a great perimeter shooter. Really struggled to knock down perimeter shots this last year. He only made 43 of 163 three-point shots last year in college. Defensively, he's got really good instincts, gets steals, but he's not the kind of guy that guards his own man. I think he really needs to improve on the defensive end, and he needs to really upgrade, I think, a little bit his work ethic, but a really good prospect, solid.
The story here with Detroit in the backcourt is Chauncey Billups, who was the MVP of the NBA Finals in 2004, took, as most expected, his early termination option. Thus, he is a free agent, and Chauncey, his representatives, and the Pistons have all said that they would like to be back together in a relationship. Now, money and time will answer that question, but that's the priority for Joe Dumars this offseason. Billups said he would like it, but they still need to bolster their backcourt. They traded Carlos Delfino to Toronto, and Stuart Scott's with the guy who they hope will bolster the Detroit backcourt.
Michael, he's only the second Eastern Washington player ever drafted and the first since 1977. Rodney, we've seen Greg Oden, Kevin Durant, Joakim Noah, all these big names and a lot of buzz. Who is Rodney Stuckey?
That's me. Coming out of high school, I didn't qualify, so Eastern Washington was the school I had to go to, and I had to work what I had in front of me, and things worked out my way.
I know that you wear number 3 like Dwayne Wade. Some people compare your game to Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade is your idol. The first time you step up against him on the court, how do you leave that, oh my God, it's Dwayne Wade factor back at home?
It's going to be hard, but at the same time, I'm out there competing just like he is. And, every day and every game, I'm just going to try to bring my A game.
All right, Mike, I said he was only the second Eastern Washington player ever drafted. The first one in 1977, never played in the NBA. This man could be the first.
That was Ron Cox, and only one player from the Big Sky. This conference was a first-rounder. Guy who played upstairs at the Garden, Michael Ray Richardson, was the 4th overall pick in 1978. Give me a little feel here about the Pistons, because I can tell you this one thing about the Pistons from losing to Cleveland when LeBron scored the 25 in a row, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Then they lose Game 6, and Cleveland goes on to get swept by San Antonio. The NBA Finals may have been low-rated. They got no rating in the Pistons' offices. It was very hard for those guys to watch the finals, knowing that they, in their mind, should have been there for the 3rd time in 4 years.
Well, and rightfully so. When you talk about being exited from the playoffs by a team that you feel that you're better than, that's frustrating. But the Detroit Pistons doing the right thing. Needed help behind Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton. Went with a backcourt guy that can be explosive coming off that bench. If it's not a big guy that can help you, they did the right thing. So no longer, once they seal up the deal and re-signing Chauncey Billups, they feel comfortable with having a high-energy guy coming off the bench.
Stephen A., I know Joe Dumars is very happy with this pick. This is a guy they had hoped to get because of booster in that backcourt, just in case.
Not just that. Certainly, you're hoping to keep Chauncey Billups. Joe Dumars definitely wants to keep him. There's some reservations that Chauncey Billups may have for individuals in that franchise other than Joe Dumars, because he loves the ground Joe Dumars walks on. So it'll be interesting to see. But I like the pick. At the same time, you always have some level of skepticism, because this is the only thing that Joe Dumars has not been totally flawless. He's been flawless everywhere else.
This is the team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals 5 straight years, and we'll hear from them at their normal spot in the draft, where they earned, record-wise, 27 overall, coming up here in a little bit. Now on the clock, the Washington Wizards, a team that looked like it was going to be a factor in the playoffs until injuries just decimated this team the last month of the season.